Casey.
I'm Bran.
I'm Lindsay.
I'm Bailey.
And we are back for another episode. But before we get into all of the craziness of our past weekend, we have to do our girlies quote of the day. And this quote is for all my anxiety girlies out there. This one helps me a lot. If it's out of your hands, keep it out of your head. Which is a great quote for if you can't control the outcome, don't let it control you.
Yeah,
I love that.
I feel like that's a great segue. Before we get into the weekend shenanigans, we have a life update for all of you guys. We have very exciting news. Today's episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Woo! And as of today's recording, all 4 girlies are in therapy.
Yes!
We have to give some credit to the people listening at home. On our 6th episode, we did an advice episode, and we got asked, are we planning on being in therapy, or are we in therapy? And we were honest at that time when we recorded, none of us were in therapy, and now all 4 of us are. So we stuck to what we said, which is great. And I feel like that was like great accountability from you guys at home. So snaps for us, you guys. We did it. But some backstory. So we've all been doing BetterHelp for like 3 weeks now. Mm-hmm. How has it kind of impacted everybody?
I feel like it just could not have come at a better time for me. I feel like the last few months have been a whirlwind. I moved in with my boyfriend. I got a new job. We started this podcast and everything's really exciting, but it all happened at once and it's kind of just been a lot to handle. So therapy has just been so nice to help me slow down and process everything that's been going on. And it feels so good to just talk to someone and not feel so overwhelmed.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I feel like sometimes I'm a burden to my family and you guys because I love to tell you guys about my problems. But I also never want to just keep anything inside and just bottle everything up. So just having someone listening to me that's not you guys has been so great and amazing.
You're still welcome to talk to us whenever you need, but I love that for you.
No, I literally, sometimes I want to kiss my therapist because she just makes me feel like I can get through the day. And I knew that I was going to be a difficult client because I'm a Cancer. So I have a lot going on. So it's just been doing wonders for me being able to open up and really express myself. So
I love that. I think for me, therapy has just made me a better person. I feel like I'm a better communicator, which in turn makes me a better friend, a better coworker, a better person in the professional sense. I just really feel like even just a general sense of betterness, I'm bettering myself, therefore I'm bettering my relationships with everyone else.
100%. And if you guys aren't familiar, BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist who is trained to listen and give you helpful, unbiased advice.
Yes. And first you can go to their site and you can use our link. That's betterhelp.com/Between Us Girlies. And you can answer a few questions and BetterHelp will match you to a professional who has years of experience helping other people struggle like yours.
And the best thing about it, what I love the most, is that you can do it from your phone, you can do it from your computer, video call, phone call, messaging, whatever makes you feel comfortable.
BetterHelp is truly the easiest way to talk to a therapist. And I'm so proud of all 4 of us for starting this journey together. So give it up for the girlies.
Go girls. Thank you so much, BetterHelp.
Yes.
And we will continue to update you guys as we get through, the therapy journey. We'll share with you some learnings. I already have in the past few episodes shared some of the amazing things that helped me with my panic attack. So we're really excited for everything. But for now, let's kick it off to the weekend. Who wants to recap? We had a great little charity gala on Saturday, Jam.
Yes.
How was everyone's night?
It was great. I thought it was just our 3rd jam. I thought it was the best jam thus far that we've been to.
I thought so too. I really did enjoy it.
I think we all definitely slayed with the looks. I think everybody looked really nice.
Down.
But I'm going to say that the highlight of my night was the tortellini pasta. I am dreaming of her, thinking of her. I miss her. I need her.
No, I want a cheesy pasta right now.
Yeah, that food was good. That was good. And the venue this year was different and I loved it. It was so beautiful. It was 2 floors. So you could kind of be on the 2nd floor, creep on the people below you. The DJ Montone ate down with that set.
It felt very Gossip Girl, this venue. The upstairs and the downstairs, I don't know.
There's just something about going to an adult prom. It was just so fun to be in a nice outfit. Everyone's dressed up. You're going there. There's music. There's drinks. it just literally felt like an adult prom in the best way possible.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe that.
I will say DJ Montone got absolutely feral towards the end of the night. Like, it was like once all the people who came just to, be delicate and dainty, once they went home, it got so ratchet on that dance floor and I was sliving. It was an excellent time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we kept it halfway wholesome. We there's normally a jam after party and it's always a blast, but we had some big plans for Sunday. So we all kept it lucratively chill and, ended up in bed by 1 a.m. Lindsay and I tried to offset our hangover by taking some supplements, which ended up doing jack shit, to just be so candid. But we had a very interesting we were a lot drunker than I thought.
Yeah, I didn't
felt like
realize.
I was a weird drunk. When I left jam, I was like, okay, great. And then as I was getting home and I'd stopped drinking, I felt like I was somehow getting drunker. I don't know what was going on.
That always happens to me when I get home. Like when I was trying to go to bed, I'm like, oh my God. It's like all the alcohol hits me right when I step foot into my home. Like I hated that, which caused me to be Sunday. I was out for the count. Like I thought I was never gonna come out of that hangover. Like my head was pounding to the point I was switching between a hot compress and a cold compress. Like a hot warm towel on my face. That did wonders because I had that melt a little bit, took that off, wiped my face off, put on my sleep mask, then went to bed.
That sounds nice.
It was
I kind of want to
really,
do that
it
tonight.
was really therapeutic.
I unfortunately woke up at 6 a.m. Brandon and I were just texting all morning about our Instagrams because I was like, nobody else is awake and I'm having anxiety, so someone's got to talk
I was
to
gonna
me.
say, I think it really is an anxiety thing. Damn. Anyway, we're 30 now. We'll figure it out. So Sunday, viewers at home, we're all wearing something very special.
Something extremely special, the
Our
most
memorabilia.
special.
Yeah, we went to the canceled podcast cross country tour in New Jersey. It was amazing. Brooke gave us guest list passes, so we got to go see her before she went on, which was just so fun. We love Brooke so much. We got to meet Tana for the first time ever.
Yeah.
She was so sweet. We made merch for them that said "I survived George Gate," and then the show was insane.
Yeah.
They had a person storm the stage.
Yeah, that was
That
crazy.
was crazy.
Wild. I saw so many TikToks about it today, and I was like, oh my God, I was
I
there.
know.
Yep, absolutely absurd.
Yeah.
And it was great. I fangirl over a few things in this world. Taylor Swift, obviously. Tana Mojo, Brooke, and the Cancel Podcast is another thing. Like, that was my Super Bowl. That was my Eras Tour Part 2. That night is now my Roman Empire. Like, I have never felt so seen in an audience, like, screaming at all the inside jokes. It's the only podcast that I, listen to every single episode besides Between Us Girlies. I listen to other podcasts, but that one, it's like, I'm get notified when the episode's released. I listen to it on the plane, on the train, anytime. I'm obsessed with it. So it was really cool to actually see it in person and get some insider tea that they don't share on the actual podcast. It was amazing.
It was so cute seeing you be so excited. Like you were literally jumping up and down with excitement.
I felt so annoying.
You
No,
weren't though.
and you were not annoying. And I told you last night, I have to give a shout out. Brandon was literally best friend of the year because you me, Lindsay, and Bailey were talking to Brooke, and you were talking to Tana, and you kind of brought me into the conversation. You were like, honestly, Tana, Casey's been watching you for so long, and brought me in, and then Tana turned to me, and I got to tell her that I've been watching her forever, and it was just the coolest moment because I don't know if I would have had a one-on-one experience if you didn't say that. Aww. So I really thank you.
I felt like that. I was like, I don't want to blow her cover because in this industry, it is really weird. You'll be with some people who are like, no, don't fangirl over that person. It's not cool. But this was a non-negotiable for me. I was like, I don't care if me and Brooke are friends. I'm her biggest fan at the end of the day. I had to just you started watching Tana before I did. So I was like, no, you need to meet Casey. She is obsessed with you. Casey used to come to my house. We would watch the podcast together. I was like, you have to meet each other.
No, I feel like Brooke's they're just so real.
Yeah,
I
really
feel like there definitely have been influencers where I'm like, okay, I cannot fangirl because their head might get too big or something. But they are genuinely so real. Brooke is one of the realest influencers I've ever met.
Yeah.
So I feel like she likes when people fangirl.
And it feels normal when we talk to them.
Yeah.
Brooke and especially Brooke, because we met her a few times, but they're just so chill, down to earth.
Yeah.
It's so wild. Like, it's so crazy to think about.
And then we waited 30 minutes to buy these t-shirts. We were the last people in the venue. Genuinely, they locked the doors
We were the
after we
cleanup
left.
crew.
But it was so nice. We got to meet some people who also listen to this
Yeah.
podcast, which was like so cool. I'm like, oh my God, we have some cross listeners, like my favorite podcast and my podcast. I was like, that was really cool.
Yeah, a few girlies that came to our pop-up event, like our meet
Yes.
and greet. But yeah, so a few were
shout out
there.
Simone.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad we did because this merch is cute.
So cute.
Yeah.
True. Bailey goes, it's a true extra large. I was like, it certainly
It's
is.
down to my knees.
Yep,
I'm like,
I
let's
love
go for
it.
the 6'8" girls.
I also loved their branding, like the cross country, like very Paris and Nicole like coded. I loved that. I feel like when we start doing our tours one day, we need a really sick like
Game of
photo shoot.
Thrones.
Yeah. It
Now,
was,
hold on a
That'd
second.
be hard. That's hard. Yep. Write that down.
it was amazing. Great weekend. Long weekend, but great weekend.
Yeah, I like am like still kind of recovering. I feel like I'm like so sleepy right now. Like
Because we lost an hour of sleep.
Yeah.
lost an hour, overdid it at Jam, but thought we underdid it. Went to this show, like had to fangirl. So it was a lot to take on.
It was a busy weekend.
It was really
Yeah.
busy.
And the viewers don't even know what's coming next for our next episode.
Oh,
this
boy.
is going to be a good one.
Yeah.
But the next episode, y'all, just have your notifications on because it's about
Yeah.
to be crazy. Anywho, let's get into our next little segment over here.
What is it, Brandon?
So we have been discussing some things, and it seems like you guys really do enjoy when we tell some personal tales, some personal stories. So we're going to talk about breakups, but in particular, actually, friendship breakups, which, in my opinion, are the breakups that hurt the most, leave some of the hardest wounds that don't ever heal truly. But there's different kinds, and we're not gonna like give dramatics here. Like, we're all mature people who I feel like have seen people phase in and out of our lives. But I kind of just like wanted to give everybody the opportunity to maybe speak about an experience that they've had with a friendship breakup. And I can start if you guys don't mind.
Take it away.
I feel like at the age of 27, I truly have had two overlaying like common themes in my friendship breakups. The number one is you lose a friend to a relationship, and not necessarily your relationship. You lose that friend due to their relationship. Sometimes people change when they start dating somebody. Sometimes they change their whole personality when they start dating somebody, which is really unfortunate. Sometimes when they start dating someone, you realize that you are no longer any kind of priority. Obviously, people's priorities shift when they're in a relationship, but some people are better than others at balancing that. And I've lost a lot of friends, a lot of girlfriends to relationships with, you know, maybe there was, I don't want to say toxic, but just like, sometimes it's codependency. Sometimes they refuse to hang out with you outside of their relationship. And it's sad to see that happen. And I feel like everyone at home has probably dealt with something similar. But I made a TikTok about this last week. It was something that I felt like wasn't going to really follow with me after my early 20s. Because when you're in college and you're young and you're experiencing maybe your first relationship, like you are kind of head over heels. But like, no. At the age of 27, I'm still experiencing this. Like, I've lost like 2 friends in the last year that I just don't talk to anymore because their relationship has completely shifted. And sometimes it's for the best. Sometimes a good relationship can help you end bad friendships. So I'm not saying that these people are necessarily in the wrong. It's just interesting to see that kind of happen. I don't know if you guys have anything to touch on that or anything similar.
I've had friends in the past, like the specific friend, just call them out, where I noticed that, because I was friends with them in college, and I would see almost every single relationship, like that would happen, like them just being so codependent, but then only hang out with the friends when they like needed something or they were like really lonely. And it got to the point post graduation where like I remember I was out to eat with you two and I was like, I have to say something to this girl. And I said it to her in the most like kind, friendliest way, like, listen, I've noticed this pattern and like you're in a new relationship now and I don't want this to happen. And I did tell her that in the nicest way possible. And I'm so glad I did, because sometimes you just don't know what you don't know. But it does suck when it does happen to the like extent you're saying, where you completely just fall out of that relationship.
Yeah.
I think it's really sad to see like your friends changing in that way, because it almost like makes you hurt. It hurts that you're losing them kind of, but it also hurts to see them like that. Like, we have a friend, the 4 of us, who did change their entire personality for a man, and that is fine. I'm glad that she's like living what she thinks is her best life, or what I guess I have to believe is her best life. But deep to my core, like, we've been friends for like a number of years, so I know her, and it's so hard to watch her do these things that are just not her. So it kind of makes me hurt for her a little bit, to the point where it's like, you threw away relationships, you're throwing away kind of your own character for a man. It's just, and I get that things are hard, especially if it's like your first boyfriend or your most non-toxic boyfriend, but it's like, you have to consider yourself as well.
Yeah, and you have to, like, kind of to what you said, Bailey, like, you kind of have to think about you being the person in the relationship. Like, what happens if that relationship fails? Like, who do you turn to then? If you shove everyone away and then that doesn't work out, then you come, and then it's just like even more disrespectful to your friends. It's like, oh, I'm only back here because I don't have anyone else. Like,
and that truly is like, that's, someone commented on that on my TikTok about this, and they were like, but no, like, my friends love it's not about that. Can love your boyfriend all you want, but if you don't have a personality outside of him, it's like, what do you do? Because nothing is for certain. And I know when you're in that headspace, you feel like, no, this is the person I'm marrying, end all be all. Something tragic could happen that prevents that. It might, sometimes it's literally, to Casey's point earlier, out of your hands. Like, so just make sure that you have people outside. Really give yourself some things to have for yourself. I think that's really important. The second type is, I guess you could call it drifting, but I almost call it like seasonal friends. And I feel like I am now realizing at the age of 27 that it is okay to have seasonal friends. Whether it's you're in a job for 3 months or, a job for 3 years and you're really close to somebody, but then when that job's over, you try to maintain contact here and there, but it's not the same. And that's okay. If you're meant to stay friends, you both will find a way to continue to be friends. But it's okay to have like seasonal friends. And it's weird. I remember I had this friend who was my best friend, like for probably 10 to 12 years. And we don't have a fight. I just really realized the last, I guess, 2 kind of years of our friendship that we were just fizzling out. We had nothing in common anymore. We were going very separate directions, and it's okay. And I don't have any like harboring ill will towards that person. It's just sometimes you phase out, and that's a sign of growth in a lot of ways, and it's okay to like kind of take on. Yeah, well, those are mine.
yeah.
I don't know. For me, I was just thinking like a lot of my like friendships that I've noticed in college, like my big group of friends in college before like I really started hanging out with like Brandon and Casey, I thought it was going to be like end game. Like we were going to be like bridesmaids at each other's weddings. And I feel like everything just really fizzled out. Like we were friends and maybe it was like a small altercation, but not big enough for like, we just don't talk anymore.
Yeah.
Which just sucks. So like I do try to keep in contact here and there, but I feel like it's at this point, it's just so out of touch. Well, not out of touch, but like out of reach, like keeping up with everything. And just like, when I think back, I'm like, damn, we had such good memories. Like I wish the best for them. It just like sucks when you think about like all that time you spent with those people. Like they know so much about me. Obviously you guys do too. But like, I just hope the best for everyone. But just like, those hurt a little bit just because I'm like, oh wow. Like I hope everyone's doing well.
Yeah.
Like, I really just care.
No, it's such a good point too. Like you like meet these people, like the same with dating. You like meet these people's families.
Yeah.
You stay at their homes. Like sometimes their parents make you dinner. Like, and it's just like, oh my God, like what did you tell your mom? Like it's just like a weird afterthought.
Yeah.
I think like the first taste of like friendship breakup that I had to have been like 11. What are we in 7th grade? Maybe whatever.
6, yeah.
So I had like a core group of friends in 7th grade, and it was really just 5 of us. And I loved these girls. Like you said, Bailey, I thought they were going to be my bridesmaids. Again, like we're kids, but we were besties from 7th to 8th grade, and then 9th grade rolls around. And we had one of the girls in our group another girl in the group who everybody in their friend group has someone who they latch to a little bit harder. I think as adults, we all kind of have our own relationships, but when you're young, I feel like you always have like your sidekick. This girl was my sidekick in our group. Like I thought she was going to be my maid of honor. The girl who she wanted to be the sidekick of was also in our group, and she would have done anything to protect her friendship with that girl. Me and that girl ended up getting into a fight over something that was really stupid because it ended up being like a question of my character. This like whole issue happened. And instead of this girl just being Switzerland, just staying neutral, being friends with both of us, she was adamant about being friends with this other girl. And I am a person who cannot let go of things. Like I hold on to relationships really badly. It's a terrible quality I'm working on in therapy. But it was the easiest let go that I've ever had in my entire life. But it was one of the hardest because at that point I realized it was a childlike adult realization where not everyone is going to be your friends and the people you think are going to ride for you are not always going to. And that was I literally just choked because that was a tough pill to swallow. Yeah. And like when I got to high school, I had another huge group of friends, like at least 14 of us. And at the end of the day, it became like 7 and 7. And then another girl got cut out and then it was this and that. So you like really see your dynamics change in friendships. And it really is difficult to see and watch and like see how everybody feels.
Yeah. I always give a lot of credit to trio friend groups. I feel like those are a recipe for disaster. Anytime I've been in a friend group like of 3, someone is always the third wheel. And it's because like you said, Lindsay, like especially in high school, like and when you're younger, like 2 people latch on to each other and the third person notices and everybody notices. And I honestly feel like sometimes as an adult that still happens. That's why I love that we're 4.
And that's hard. Like in high school, like my sidekicks, we were a 3. Like we were a trio. Oh, wow. And I'm friends with both of the trio, but the trio is not friends with the other 2 are not friends. And that is like a good thing. I think that worked out for the best where sometimes you don't always have the most in common, but it definitely is wacky when like you have to balance being friends with what used to be 3 now is 1 and 1. So
yeah.
I feel like that kind of leads into like my viewpoint of it, of, you know, friendship breakups, because I've definitely experienced the breakup where you break up with a friend, but your friends don't. And that is really tough because you battle a lot of emotions. You battle, why don't you want to be on my side? You know, like why you start to feel like are they on their side more? Are they on my side more? And that's just like a natural reaction. I don't think it makes you, you know, like a bad person as long as you don't act on that feeling, but it's natural to kind of feel that at first. And then it's natural to feel uncomfortable in situations. And I think that in my experience in those moments, you really have to like tune into yourself and be like, what am I comfortable with? I've had friend breakups where I'm still comfortable enough to be with that person. If we're going to a pregame or a birthday dinner, I can be there and I'm not uncomfortable and it's fine. And I've also had friend breakups where I can't be in the same room as that person. And so then it becomes your responsibility to know yourself and be like, okay, I'm going to take myself out of this situation. Like I'm not comfortable. And that's really hard because sometimes you might have to miss out on things if, you know, it's someone's birthday and your friends are going to go because they're still friends with that person, which is completely fine. But then you have to kind of be okay with like, all right, well, I'm going to miss out on that, which is tough. It's not like an easy feeling. But at the end of the day, I feel like anytime that I've picked myself in that situation, I look back and I'm like, I'm glad that I did that. Because if I went, it would have maybe become something it didn't need to be. And it's definitely tough when you're going through an issue with a friend and you have other friends involved.
And I think that's really important to also maintain a level of maturity when those things come up because like if you are going to sit at a birthday dinner on the opposite side of the table where someone you might not like is on the other end, sometimes it is like important to support your friend. Just go. It's not that big of a deal. But if it's an intimate space where you're seated and you have to speak to this person and that's going to damage your mental health, like it is okay to pick you.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I also think it's like regular breakups, sometimes they cut deeper than others. Like sometimes it is like, it's not deep. I just don't like that person. Like I'll still go. But sometimes it's like, no, like they genuinely broke my heart. Like if I'm sitting with them, like I will not be okay and I won't be able to support you in the way that I need to. So like I'm removing myself from that situation. And that's not easy. It's not easy to say that. And also as the friend who, you know, let's say invited 2 people, it's not easy to receive that because like you said, Casey, is it like, damn, am I not important enough? Like, can they just put their special, like, can they put their beef aside for this moment? And it really is circumstance by circumstance.
Yeah, and it's also just being smart and like it could turn into a full Real Housewives type of thing, and like emotions could take over and ruin such a beautiful moment if you're just like trying to be nice and go, but like you have to think about yourself. Like, am I going to cause a scene, or is this person going to cause a scene and just ruin the whole time?
I feel like the best thing you can do as a friend in that situation, as like the friend of someone going through that, is just being transparent, being like, hey, to be completely honest with you, I'm going to go out with that person this weekend. I hope you know I love you, and I'm just going to, and like that feels so much better to the person on the other side than, you know, finding out through the other way. And then you start to get in your own head. Like being the friend who's just like, hey, I'm neutral, I'm Switzerland. Like that's very valued when you have friendships, when you have friends who are fighting.
And going off of that too, just keep in mind, try to be nice about it. Don't go off with that friend and be like, oh, let's talk shit about this friend this whole time. Like think about that in the back of your mind. If you're gonna text someone saying, I know you don't like this person, we're gonna hang out, keep your word to that and just keep it between you two and like keep it just
Between us girlies.
Between us girlies.
That's so true. If you're hanging out with someone because they have beef with someone else and you're literally hanging out with that person to talk shit on that person, that's bad intention.
Terrible.
Yeah, bad karma.
It's not gonna, exactly. It's just not gonna fare well for you.
So I think I have one more story to add to this bowl of fun. I think it's really important to think about your college years because those really shape a lot of your friendships. Like I feel like coming out of college and being in college, you make your friends that you're gonna keep forever, in my opinion. And I had a friend in college where this, like how Brandon said, it actually broke my heart. Like it hurt the way that a man would hurt if I broke up with him. And this was a person who I had a lot in common with this person. We were like spick and span, peanut butter and jelly. It was great. She lost a lot of friends down the road. And it's really important for the girlies to remember that if they do it to others, they will do it to you. And it's only a matter of time before it happens. And you can keep that energy with a relationship as well. You are not special when somebody is not okay inside, and hurt people. So it's crucial to remember that. And I think my Cancer energy was just blinding me of that, because this person would lose friends right and left. I would hear in college, why are you friends with this person? They're so mean, blah, 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 blah. And I wrote for this person because I really, really loved them. It got to a point where out of college, we were apart for a little bit, but still like texting every day. Like this was my best friend. And a small conversation popped up where we did not agree. And it was a conversation that was a little heavier, but nothing that was like, it wasn't a lack of morals. Like it was just a disagreement. There was no reason to not be friends. And the conversation just got so intense where I was insulted and I came back with an insult that was unkind, but I apologized for it. I thought it was over with. It would be like me saying to one of you, like, you're a bitch. I'm sorry I called you a bitch. Like, were you being a bitch? Maybe, but it's something you get over. And she never got over it, to the point where like, it was an unfollow on Instagram. It was, I'm not speaking to you. I tried to make amends multiple times and there was nothing. I love closure. My therapist says closure is a lie, but that's where me and my therapist will disagree because I literally needed to sleep at night. And I was left in a spot of unknown. And maybe that like contributes to me as a person. I don't like not knowing what's next or like where I stand with somebody. But that really, really hurt me. Like it broke me. And I reached out a few times, like, here and there with like fun memories or like things that I thought could like get the conversation going. But after a few years, I was like, enough's enough, Lindsay. Like, give it up. This girl doesn't like you. So I did. And I slept like a baby at night, having closure with myself, knowing that it was going to be the end of it. I received a text from her maybe a year ago of the same energy, like a memory or something. And I am a grown adult who still has love for this person. So I answered it. And like, we're cool now, and I love that we're cool now. Our relationship is definitely different, which again is really hard. Like that really hurts me to see somebody who like you see standing next to you in your wedding dress, and now they may be somebody in your audience. Like so that was something that really, really hurt me. That was a long story, but it's crucial to the conversation because those things happen when you're young, but like it happens when you become an adult as well, which is really crappy.
I feel like that's a good story for the fact that it kind of proves good friends can come out of really bad situations. Like true friends can get through really bad disagreements, and not that, there was anything, not that I'm saying there's anything wrong with that friendship, but like, I feel like your true friends will respect that you were like trying really hard or like, reaching out. And even if it's been years, like I've even had a friend that I was close with in college that like we had a falling out, and then we like randomly reconnected, and it was really nice and like healing. Like those are
healing. Like that's a really
like
good word for it.
Yeah.
Because you finally like get to tie all the loose ends that you were wondering about. And like, you don't even need all the answers. Like we didn't need to sit down and talk about what happened or why it happened. It was just like, we're adults, like let's move on. And I like appreciated that.
Yeah.
So
Friendship breakups used to be so dramatic though in high school. Like, do you remember when like two people that would always sit next to each other in like the lunchroom or study hall like suddenly weren't sitting next to each other, and that just like signaled to everybody like there is beef. Like, I kind of do miss that like little gossipy element to it.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of what happened when I had my high school breakup. I was called over to my old lunch table, and I literally did. It was crazy. I literally did a scan of the cafeteria, and I said, "You're about to make your mark. You can sit with these people and be like this all of high school. You can sit with these people." So I found this girl, and she was part of my trio. I found this girl, and I said, "I'm going to just sit with her." And I sat down at the table, and one of the other girls from my other table came over, and she's like, "Why aren't you sitting with us?" And I said, "I don't want to."
Period.
And that was that.
I had the same kind of thing happen. I don't want to go into the specifics, but a very dramatic situation happened in high school. And I was literally faced, like it almost was like time stopped. And I could either two friends split up and walked in opposite directions. And I was in the middle. And it was like, I can either walk one way or the other. And I remember being like, fuck, this is going to decide like so much of the rest of my life. Obviously, that's how you think in high school. And I chose one way and we are still best friends. But it was a very traumatic situation. I was like, oh my God, what do I do?
Damn.
Because cliques are so strong in high school. And as horrible as it sounds, like this is so superficial and stupid to think about as an adult. But in high school, like it mattered.
Yes.
And you literally like, the way I had binoculars, I was like, I need to scan the cafeteria because where I sit is crucial for the next 4 years.
Also, it's like those were days that you wanted to be early to lunch, because if you were beefing with one person at the table, low key, if you sat there first, like, sorry, I'm not moving, like whatever. It's up to you if you want to sit down or then move, and then they're the one. Like, I remember I would get into fights. I'd be like, we need to get to lunch early today. Like I would be nervous.
Wow.
Because if you get there and the person that you're beefing with is already there and you see your friends chumming up with them, you're like, oh, I'm the one on the outs. And that's not a fun feeling.
Luckily, my school, like, I didn't have that issue at all. I went to a smaller school, but our lunches were like based off of like certain periods. Like the people I had like English class with, like were like my friends. Like we'd all just sit together. Like if it was fight, like no one was really fighting. So I had a chill lunch area. Thank God. This sounds stressful.
Drama.
That sounds so
Brandon
stressed.
and I got the pleasure of sitting with each other, our junior year.
And we would just like beef with like other. It was
I would love to be a fly on the
It was a
wall.
mess.
We would sit down at the table, like, let's get into
Like I would
it.
like cook people at lunch. Like I would literally like text someone. I'd be like, I'm cooking them at lunch tomorrow. Like it was so messy.
Me and my best friend Duran, shout out, I don't think he listens to this podcast, but my best friend in high school, Duran, like switched our seats so we could face the entire cafeteria and we would just talk shit on everyone, and it was so much fun.
Marvelous.
Simply marvelous.
All right, Lindsay, you got a would you rather for us this week?
I do have one would you rather. I was
don't
supposed
think
to
I
come
wanna
up with
hear
two,
it.
but it's
Is
been
it
a long
sick
week.
and
so.
twisted?
It's not sick and twisted, but it will definitely force you to think.
Okay.
Would you rather be left on a deserted island for a year with your ex, or be forced, in the spirit of this conversation, to redo your most traumatic year of school the exact way that it happened?
Oh dear God.
You don't get to fix anything. You are literally reliving that traumatic year, or quite possibly a traumatic relationship for a year on a deserted island.
This
My
is your
ex.
darkest one yet.
I might choose my ex.
Mm-hmm. We're sitting on that island. We're probably gonna fuck. There's no way. At that point, you got to make the most of it. You're stuck there for a
Honestly.
year. Kiss and make up. Day 3. First 2 days, you scream at each other.
Yeah.
Then it's like, all right, we're here for it. Yeah, no. Reliving your most traumatic year of school. I'm still reliving it in my head.
Yeah.
It shaped me to be a hot mess. I can't do that again.
But
Getting
think about
called-
it, you got through it.
Yeah.
this
survived.
conversation.
You have to go. You have to be in it again. I don't think I want to be called overweight and fat for another day of my
can't do
life.
it.
So,
Yeah. I don't
like
think
Brandon,
we were bullied the same.
No, we have. One of my most traumatic years was because of my ex, so that's kind of like a double whammy.
yeah, you might be. I will be at the Atlantis Bahamas Resort for a year with my ex.
No, it's a deserted island.
Hey.
You don't get a water slide.
I can make the best of it in my head.
My ex is really strong, so I think that he would be really good with helping me build a fire, getting through the night.
Oh my.
It could be fun. I'm picking my ex.
I do not.
For a year.
It's
Hell
for the
no.
bit. That's a good bit.
I'm raising a child on that island, though. We
know.
have no contraception.
Come on.
How are you supposed to
It's
get
very
through the
Survivor
night?
core.
So you see,
Yeah.
it wasn't sick, and you just made it sick.
I would rather shave my head on this podcast than stay on an island with my ex.
Your ex is a different story because I don't
Yeah,
want to spend a
I-
lick of time with him either.
Yeah.
I would
The rest
probably
of us
pick
are
yours,
different.
too.
Yeah,
I
I
would go
completely
back to high
understand
school.
Casey's argument.
I get it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you too, I could bang with your exes on an island. 100%.
It would just be-
Me and yours would really get into it.
I would get bullied for the first 360 days. The last 5 would probably be okay.
You come back, guys. It was so fun.
Oh, I really love him. I really do love him.
That was a good one.
Oh, that was a good one, Lindsay.
I'm sorry I don't have another one, but I will come stacked and prepared for next episode.
That was good. I think
I loved it.
set. For
What's
a
on
while.
everybody's FYP?
All right, I'm typing mine in to make sure I get this correct. So, oh God, I'm so embarrassed. So mine is the Minnesota high school hockey players. I
The
guess
silence that just.
I would like to hear about
I know.
it.
I look up and you guys are like, that's why I had my
Those
head.
are boys, right?
Young
Yeah.
men.
Yes, young men in high school. So I guess it's hockey season up in Minnesota. Hockey season up in Minnesota, or however that accent is. Minnesota.
Sorta.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Thank you. But it's not creepy because what it is like videos of them and like their introductions. Like, in like football where it's like the football players come up on the screen. It's like, oh, like my name's like Bailey Witherspoon, number 35 from like Penn
Like a
State.
walkout song?
Yeah. A walkout song. So it's for the hockey players. So they skate up. They like do something, like shake their head. It's so stupid, but like just so comical. I keep getting stuck on, but it was like all the Minnesota teams, like all hockey, like high school
Thanks,
teams.
Bailey, because our phones are listening.
I
and
need
now
you guys
we're
to
gonna
see
have
it.
to watch it.
So that's what I've been on. It's good for my enrichment.
I'm low-key so glad that I am not in high school during TikTok like times because I was just not comfortable enough in who I am to like put myself on TikTok.
No,
like
it's
that.
ESPN that's posting it. It's like the big.
Well,
No,
that's even worse.
Yeah, it's like actual like ESPN. Like I'm watching like legit NHL.
Oh, these boys have a chance with a future.
No, like they're good hockey players. They're like, why am I saying this? They're
Our
like
black asses talking about hockey.
white boys in Minnesota.
That is an interesting thing, though. Like, do you think they like have to like sign off on approvals to be posting this stuff because they're under 18?
Oh, I don't know.
No.
It's like
I bet they're not.
because it's like I feel like high school like sports that are on ESPN. I don't think that's how that
Oh,
happens.
I think it's,
like,
They're just
signed.
like really good athletes, and they're probably going to sign to like some NHL. I don't know how that happens, but that's what I've been on. Cat's out of the bag.
Anybody else? Anything fun?
I don't think I have anything.
Have you guys been on like the Oscars TikTok at all? Have you seen anything about that? Because that was last night.
Not necessarily Oscars TikTok, but I have 2 Instagram followers. I follow them also. And they, every award show without fail, they rate the outfits. And it's my favorite thing to look out. Shout out Lindsay, shout out Jewel. Like they literally post the outfits and I'm like, I live for They rate them. It's amazing.
good.
So I don't even need to go to TikTok.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen it on my FIP.
I've seen some like the I'm Just Ken performance, Barbie. all
Oh,
the-
it was so good. It was like really funny. I watched Billie Eilish's performance. Whenever I see her perform in an award show, especially for I forget the name of the song from the Barbie movie, just so good. It's
What
so
Was I
be-
Made For?
Yes, and like Phineas is like on the piano, and it's just so beautiful.
Stunning.
Yeah, I feel like everyone like looked really good. I haven't seen any like bad looks yet. I saw
Yeah.
people were saying Billie Eilish's like look was weird because she wasn't wearing a dress, but I thought it was sick.
I thought
so.
it made sense for her, and I
Yeah.
thought it, like looked good with everybody else. Yeah,
She's so like camp that she can't really be like frowned upon. You know what I
I
mean?
agree.
Yeah. I don't think I have anything. Do you, Case?
No, I feel like my For You page is just like Sunday cleaning resets, but like every day of the fucking week. Like it just makes me feel like I'm like not clean enough, not put together enough. It stresses me out, yet I watch every single one.
All right.
I guess the only thing that we can like lightly talk about, we don't have to make this like fucking political, but is the potential TikTok ban. Obviously, like that is on my FYP, and I'm getting like reached out to by news sources being like, what are you gonna do if TikTok's banned? And just for like some context, like whatever decision happens this week is not going to be immediate. Like there will be a 6-month period where TikTok can kind of respond to the decision that's made. So don't panic yet for anyone listening. I say yet because it does feel a little more real this time than last year. because TikTok is really pushing like a hashtag keep TikTok. So they didn't do that last year. So I think they're definitely sweating a little bit. But we don't really know the full scope of what's going on. I feel like it's such a weird gray area. But if you are posting on social media at home and you haven't yet, really start posting on a different platform. Last year, I made the very hard choice to start posting on Instagram Reels. I ruined my aesthetically pleasing grid. And thank fucking God I did, because now I have another platform on there where honestly, majority recently of my brand deals are either TikTok and Instagram or just Instagram. So start monetizing on other platforms if you can. I'm so glad we have this podcast. And also as a supporter, like if there's someone you love to watch, follow them on other places too, because in the chance that you can't follow them on TikTok anymore, try to find another way to keep up with them.
I wonder if, like, knock on wood, that was really great advice. I honestly listened to it myself. But I wonder if TikTok does go to the grave, knock on wood, like, are people going to start using Reels as TikTok? Like, is Reels going to be the brand new TikTok? I wonder.
Well, there's a certain political candidate who I'm not a fan of, who is actually starting to not want TikTok to become banned because he believes it will result in a monopoly by Meta. So to your point, yes, basically people think that this could force a monopoly. And I'm not really sure totally why this political candidate is against that. You can do your own research as to why. But for that reason, they are actually backing out of now being in support of the TikTok ban. And what they're doing is they're not banning the app outright. They're kind of finding the most like crazy loophole where the app can exist, but it will charge like an insane amount of money for everyone who downloads it. So basically the Apple Store is going to have to take TikTok off. So it's kind of forcing the hand of it. So we'll see how it goes. It's crazy because like, I just can't picture all of like the really powerful people in this world who have made so much money off TikTok from a business standpoint, like influencer marketing or using TikTok as a way to market their brand. Like, I don't know. I just think that it will be a really seismic shift if something like that happens. And it really does feel like a violation of, here I go now getting political, but it really does feel like a violation of freedom of speech. I mean, there's so much you can learn on TikTok. Obviously, there's so much you shouldn't look for TikTok for, but there's so much to learn, and it's such a platform where people can share their thoughts. And it's really sad that that's kind of like now becoming a forefront of when there's so many other crazy things happening in the world.
I said the same thing. I was just like, there are so many businesses that exist because and for TikTok that I can't see them letting this happen. But I was also like the biggest Vine supporter, and it happened. Vine was very different. They made like zero efforts. They like could not figure out the monetization of their app. But I'm very interested in Vine because a lot of celebrities, if they didn't figure out how to adapt to a new platform, they were lost in the grave with Vine. Whereas other ones, like one of my favorite YouTubers, Curtis Connor, he was huge on Vine. And then when it closed, he turned to YouTube and now he has like 5 million followers, and that is his entire career. So it's very interesting to think about, like, hypothetically, if it were to happen, what kind of creators could change and adapt to something totally different? Who knows what app would exist in 5 years? Like,
That's so crappy because I feel like TikTok is so fun. Like, it is truly an app where, I didn't like it when it first came out because I thought it was going to be like Musical.ly, which it kind of is, but like, it is so cool to be able to type in chicken parm recipe, how to style my extensions, where to find a boyfriend, funny stories at the car wash.
It's a search engine.
Like,
it's a full-blown search engine.
You can find anything.
I go to TikTok more than I go to Google now because why would I read something when I could literally watch someone do it?
Yeah.
And see a ton of comments on it in one place rather than scrolling on the search engine.
So I feel like you're right, Brandon. I think it's just like a takeaway of like expression and speech, and it's really crappy.
It feels really scary, honestly.
Yeah, especially for you.
Yeah, I'm not too concerned. I mean, at the end of the day, it literally goes back. I'm so glad you started the episode with that quote. When people are like, what are you going to do? I'm like, realistically, I can do things like this. I can bring it up in conversation on podcasts. I can talk about it in interviews. I can talk about it on my own platform. But Brand Flakes isn't reversing the ban. It's not. I'm not saying that with a defeatist attitude. If every creator puts their minds together, of course there's power. Of course we can, try to help. But at the end of the day, I can't challenge the fucking government. What what are they going to say? Oh, local Philly TikToker needs this. I'm really glad I went to school and I got 2 degrees, and I'm glad I've kind of, like I said, if you're a creator, try to find different revenue streams. I make money off reels. Hopefully eventually we'll start monetizing money off the podcast. And just try to protect yourself as best as you can and save everything. Find a way to be able to save. That's why I'm so glad there'll be like a little bit of a period where in that moment, download everything that you would want that you have posted, because you might not be able to get it back.
Wow. Love that.
Right. Anyone have an immunity necklace?
Oh boy, do I. So this doesn't pertain to anything in particular, like any recent event. This just happens way too often. Let's normalize not touching people. Like, I've just never been a toucher. My family always said that. Like, just, we can do hugs, like, maybe. I'm just not like a cuddler. Like, I could be. But when someone walks up to me, like, or say, like, whatever. Say, like, oh, Bailey, you have, like, a piece of lint on your hair. Let me get it out for you. Let me stop you right there. You can verbally tell me that something is on my face or in my hair or on my person. There is no reason for you to be touching. I would love for you to point it out, or I could do a handy dandy, pull out my phone, look in the mirror and say, wow, there it is. Without you smudging my makeup, touching my hair that I've worked hard on with gel and a lot of product in it. Because we were at McGillen's and our one friend, bless her heart, she was just being like, I don't know what she was doing, but she put her hand on my head like this and like kept it there. And I was like, what are we doing here? Like, I've had a slick back fake ass ponytail. Why are we touching the hair? Like, I'm black. It's not going to stay in the same place. I mean, it could. Like, I just need to say that I'm black. Like, don't touch my hair or my skin.
The way you said this is about nothing in particular.
And then said,
you pull up the most location, time, receipts.
It was the most recent thing that's happened. I even made a TikTok about one time because like people be like, "Oh, I love your hair." I'm like, "Yeah."
People do draw on you like that.
Yeah, I'm like, "Yeah." Majority of the hair I'm wearing is fake. So what would possess you to touch the fake hair that I've spent so hard to make it look like it's real? Oh my God, your bangs are fake. Let me touch them. Why? Like, why?
Even real hair, just keep your hands to
No,
yourself.
oh my God, Casey, I love your hair. I'm not gonna run my hands through it, mess up your curls. No, that's crazy. Or I'm not
Sorry,
gonna say,
Casey. I touched you last night. Her hair was looking absolutely
that's
incredible.
Fine.
And
I'm
I
sure
said,
you
this
bounced
is
the
nice.
curl, but you also didn't say, Casey, I love your makeup, and drag your hands across her
Casey's
face.
also not black. So
But any human, you don't want to like just like.
I'm kidding.
Like sorry, it's just I'm a big thing about keeping your hands serious. They teach you that at such a young age, do they not?
they do.
Hands to yourself.
If you mess up my makeup, it is on site. Like there is nothing then your fucking oily ass, dirty ass hands touching my skin.
Yep.
No, thank you.
Yep.
It really is just like lack of home training.
Lack of home training on these
Don't
folks.
touch it.
It's so simple. That's what boggles me. Like, it could be like, oh, like you could just say it and you can get your point across. But I said, oh, let me get the eyelash off your face. Take a thumbprint and smear it against my dark ass makeup, getting it on their white clothing. Like,
Damn, here comes another receipt, it seems. I fear this is something that happened.
If we make girlies merch, I want Bailey's to say lack of home training.
lack of home training.
That's so cam.
My grandma would always say that. And like when I would think about it, I'm like, these people do have a lack of home training. Like, it is baffling.
Oh, I love that phrase. Anyone else? I honestly could think of one. If someone else wants to go first, let me just get the wheels turning a little bit.
How to say it politely.
Didn't you have one?
I don't think so. I don't think I have anything kind.
This isn't a kind segment.
I know, but I don't know how to make it. I don't think I know how to make it kind.
You're a mean girl, Katie.
Yeah, you're a bitch.
Case you got anything?
No, not really. I could force one, but if you feel like you've got one brewing,
Wait,
let it out.
sorry. Mine might be the same as yours.
Let it out.
It really might be the same.
I would rather you say it.
Say it at the same time.
Damn, the way he's putting the blame on you. He said Lindsay's
I
getting
say
canceled,
one
not
every
me.
week. We know I'm the bitchy host.
I will take this L. If an invitation says dress code and then gives you the dress code, fun in the sun, hoodies and shorts,
Come on.
formal, gala, appropriate, just put it on. If you are going to a white and gold party, you wearing pink, that is not on the list. Don't show up in that. I will give a receipt we've had a few. Well, we went to this gala on Saturday, as everybody knows. And there were a lot of people who were dressed really beautifully and then some who just didn't follow the dress code. And I don't feel bad saying this because it is what it is. So that's why I made a necklace. Read the instructions and then follow them. It's easy. 1, 2, 3.
Look around and say, do I look like the others here?
It's always better to be overdressed than underdressed. Keep that in mind, girls.
You know what? You've inspired me. And, oh, God. Okay. You just got me fired up, Lindsay.
I'm so scared.
I'm establishing a new rule. You get 2 times. 2 times to say something underhanded to me in one night before I eviscerate you. Let me just set the scene. We will call this man Jared. Jared sees me at this event that we are at and asks a loaded question to which he knows the answer to. I respond, very vague, that anyone with an ounce of brain cell or social cue would say, Brandon doesn't want to talk about this. No. Jared continues to do what the worst people in the world do. Continue to pry. I don't know his motive. I don't care. And he's pissing me off. Fine. We are able to somehow end the conversation by the grace of God. The grace of God being that Brandon turned around and walked the fuck away before he swung at a cancer event. Tell me why I'm having a beverage. And back to Bailey's point, this man, Jared, puts his fingers on the straw of my cup, takes it out of my glass, and says, don't drink with a straw. First of all, that's why your teeth are fucking jacked, Jared. So fuck you. Don't you dare touch my drink. What are you going to put in there next? A fucking pill? Yeah, I bet you would, you fucking creep. I hate this man after this night. I hope, Jared, you know this is about you. Take it away, King. DM me, message me. Fuck you, Jared. That was Between Us Girlies. You can keep it between us girlies and Jared. And I'm done now.
That was great.
Oh, that felt therapeutic.
I felt great.
I will say, me and Casey were sitting there, and Brandon storms across the table. But this guy took my fucking straw out of my drink. I'm pissed.
What? What would possess you? That's not even a lack of home training. That's no home training. You didn't even get a lack. You did nothing.
Still pissing inside.
Like,
That's crazy.
Just absolutely sickening human being. Sick.
Vile.
I'm disgusted.
Oh, marvelous.
Funny.
Well, you heard him. Keep it between us, girlies. That was
Jared.
another episode. We'll see you guys
Bye,
next
guys.
week.
Bye.